Well, I have the book with me here, The Rise, and I'm here with the author, Mike Sielski. And Mike, I want to start with this because I thought it was just a great way to put it. You said you wanted to do a Batman Begins for the Black Mamba. Explain what that means.
Well, as anybody who has seen the movie knows, Batman Begins is Batman's origin story. It gets into how and why the character Bruce Wayne became Batman. And I wanted to do the same thing for Kobe. As someone who grew up in, has lived in, and has worked in the Philadelphia area pretty much my whole life, that was the part of Kobe's story that I knew best and that I thought I could tell best. I understand that everyone on the West Coast and people around the country and around the globe feel like Kobe kind of grew up before their eyes because he joined the Lakers at such a young age, at age 17 or 18, and spent so many of his years in the public eye with them. But I knew there was this other story, this origin story, and that if I told it the right way, with the right amount of detail and texture, that someone could read it and understand everything they would need to know about the man, the athlete, and really the cultural figure that Kobe Bryant became.
Mike, the name Jeremy Treatment, tell us who Jeremy is and how he helped take this book to an even greater level.
Well, Jeremy and Kobe were close friends back when Kobe was playing at Lower Merion High School. Jeremy was kind of half assistant coach on the team and half media relations representative for Kobe. He would handle all the interviews that Kobe would have to do with newspapers and local TV stations back when Kobe was in high school. And the two of them tried to collaborate on a book, kind of Kobe's memoir back then, as Kobe was jumping from high school to the NBA. And the project never came off. And Jeremy actually kept, but couldn't find, all the interview tapes, the micro cassettes of his talks with Kobe for that book. Fast forward 25 years, I've known Jeremy, we've been friends for a long time. I embark on this project to write The Rise, and I'm trucking along with my manuscript until December 22nd, 2020, 3 days before Christmas. Jeremy is moving from Philadelphia to Boca Raton, Florida. He's cleaning out his garage, and he calls me up at 8:30 at night and says, "Mike, I found the tapes." So he gave me these tapes, and it's Kobe at 17, 18, 19 years old talking about meeting Michael Jordan for the first time, meeting Magic Johnson, what it was like to take Brandy to the senior prom, his relationship with his mom and dad. And it's the in-the-moment thoughts and insights of a teenage Kobe Bryant. And you're right, Chris, you can't put a price on that kind of material.
Mike, when you heard these tapes, what was going through your mind?
Well, I got chills listening to them. It's kind of a hackneyed, and I'm not even sure it's an appropriate thing to say, but I felt like I was hearing Kobe from beyond the grave. If he had been alive for me to interview him for this book, he would have been recalling the sort of things that these tapes had him saying in real time. And, I just kept thinking how little and how much of him have changed over that period. So much of what you hear sounds like Kobe throughout his career with the Lakers, and so much of it sounds so different. For instance, he talks about his relationship with Shaquille O'Neal as Kobe's about to join the Lakers, and he talks about them as if they're brothers, as if Shaq is his big brother. And we all know that that relationship wasn't the smoothest during their careers together in LA. So it was little moments like that that really gave me insight into what Kobe was thinking and feeling at that point in his life.
Just incredible. Mike, what surprised you most about Kobe's past when putting this book together? Did anything surprise you?
Yeah, Chris, I think the fact that Kobe knew at such an early age who he wanted to be and what he wanted to do, and the fact that he was so committed to doing it. We all hear about the Mamba mentality, and what that phrase means, but I'm not sure people consider what it means in practice. You're talking about a 14, 15, 16-year-old high school kid showing up at his high school an hour before even the principal and the teachers get there so that he can practice in the gym. You're talking about a kid who drives around with an older friend to playgrounds and courts in and around Philadelphia, and he has the friend scream at him while they're playing, "You're soft. You couldn't play in the Philly Public League." And Kobe wants him to do this so that Kobe kind of puts on this emotional armor so that he's ready for the kind of trash talk and pressure that he's going to face throughout his high school career and throughout his NBA career. It's moments like that that really, really revealed to me how committed Kobe was to being great.
I got the Mamba mentality right behind me, and I wanted to ask you when you thought he developed the Mamba mentality. Did he always have it, or was it something that was developed going from Italy to Philadelphia, or was just this something that was Kobe Bryant no matter where he was going to be?
I think it's a 50-50 answer there, Chris. I think he had it, and I think he was in the perfect kind of setting and upbringing to be groomed to have the Mamba mentality. It was always there. At age 3, age 4, he would watch his dad playing NBA games on TV, and Kobe'd be sitting there with his mom, Pam, and he'd have a towel over his shoulder, and he'd pat his forehead just like he saw his dad and the other NBA players doing on TV, like, Mom, I'm sweating. He knew as early as you could possibly know such a thing, I want to be a great basketball player. But he also was born into a family of Joe Bryant, who had been a successful basketball player in his own right, a high school and college star, 8 years in the NBA, 8 years playing overseas. And then his mother, Pam, is really where he got the Mamba mentality from. She ran the household. She was very much a disciplinarian when it came to her children's education and behavior. But both Pam and Joe kind of indulged Kobe when it came to basketball. They let him be who he was going to be. You don't ever hear about the Bryants being stage parents. They didn't have to be. Kobe had that drive within himself from the moment he was born.
I think another fascinating part of this book is just the impact that he had on Lower Merion, and the fact that it wasn't a basketball powerhouse, and you have this kid who can really touch all parts of the school. You talk about his smarts, his athleticism, being able to really touch all functions of a I guess I would say organization, but this is in high school. If you could just speak more to just his impact on Lower Merion.
Sure. Well, basketball is his way in, right? I mean, he almost kind of falls out of the sky in the fall of 1991. He arrives in the middle of the school year, goes to 8th grade, and then boom, he's starting high school. And he's lived most of the previous 8 years in Italy. So he doesn't know what's cool. He doesn't know what kind of clothes to wear, what kind of music to listen to, what kind of TV shows to watch. But because he's such a great basketball player, he finds his way into kind of the culture of the school. And then from there, he's able to move in the different social circles throughout the entire culture of the school. He can hang out with the other kids who take honors English. He can hang out with the other kids who like music. One of the things that I uncovered in my research was that Kobe actually joined the Student Voice organization at Lower Merion, which was their chapter of the Black Student Union. So he was exploring what his identity was. Who am I? I'm a black kid who's going to school in this kind of Tony kind of posh suburban area just outside Philadelphia. Where do I fit in? And in doing that kind of searching for his identity, he found that he connected with people throughout the school, whether they were his peers, his teachers, just about everybody. He was never all that really, really close to anybody, but he could, he was friendly to just about everybody.
Here in Los Angeles, we always talk about his legendary workouts because everybody has a story about Kobe waking him up at 3 a.m. or 2 a.m. or not sleeping. When did those legendary workouts start for Kobe Bryant?
Gosh, as early as you could conceive of. I mean, you're talking about a kid, Chris, who, when he would play pickup ball at some of the rec centers and gyms around Philly, would ice his knees and his joints after these games when he's like 10, 11, 12 years old. And the other kids would look at him like, who is this dude? What does he think he's doing? But that's what he had seen his dad and other NBA players doing. And so he was going to do it himself. He gave up a lot of the social aspects of his life in high school to work on basketball. While his friends were going to Friday night movies or hanging out, he's going to the Jewish Community Center in Lower Merion and Wynwood, the section of Lower Merion Township where he grew up, to play ball at all hours of the night. As I said earlier, he's opening the Lower Merion gym up at 6 o'clock in the morning, waking up while it's still dark out so that he can get workouts in. It was always kind of there. And then, of course, you have the summer of 1995, where he gets invited to scrimmage and play pickup against NBA players, mostly members of the Philadelphia 76ers. And during that summer, he really realizes, you know what? I don't have to go to college. All the work I'm putting in is proving to me that I can make the jump. I can go straight to the NBA out of high school. And that's exactly what he does.
It's unbelievable. You know, I talked about this right before we went on air, and you alluded to it. You know, if you're in LA and you're a Lakers fan, you know 20 years of Kobe Bryant in the purple and gold. Why is it important for Lakers fans to read this book and understand Kobe's story?
Well, I think it's going to give Lakers fans a very intimate look at who Kobe was before he entered their lives. And they'll be able to see connections and learn new things between the Kobe that they knew or thought they knew over the 20 years that he played for the team and who Kobe was before he got there. You know, there's a tendency, I think, to think of Kobe as kind of sprouting fully formed out of a hill in Hollywood. He just showed up. He was 17 or 18, and there's Kobe. And that's the guy we knew for his entire career through the 5 rings and the 15 All-Star games that he played in and all of that stuff. But there was a very dramatic story happening before he ever got to LA about this high school where that was his life, about this high school basketball team that he led to glory. Kind of, you know, the one time in his life that Kobe Bryant is an underdog is when he's playing at Lower Merion High School. And I think the book will really give Lakers fans a lot of insights into who Kobe was and, more importantly, why he was that way.
Just fantastic, Mike. I can't thank you enough for your time. Last thing, anything else you want to say about writing the book, putting it together that maybe fans should know?
Yeah, I think I think the book tells a part of the story of Kobe Bryant that even most of his fans, even his most devoted fans, aren't that familiar with. And because of the tapes, because of the reporting and research I was able to do, because of the generosity of so many people who helped me, I think I'm able to give people and present a side of Kobe that is very real and very intimate and very revealing. And I hope people enjoy the book.